So it's been a minute since we've sat down and had a conversation, and there's some things I've had on my mind. I try to be self-aware of what the audience thinks of me, and I try to be self-aware of how I come across in my videos. But lately I find more and more comments saying something like, Josh, normally I agree with you, but this time I disagree. And then I read the comment and I go, wait, actually I think we do agree, and we're totally on the same page. So what I was talking about was this thing or this other thing. What that means is that there's a disconnect in my content between what I am wanting to get across and what you guys are interpreting from my content. So I've been thinking about this for a bit. And now I'm not immune to having bad takes or anything like that. Sometimes I'm wrong and I'll take the L, and that's fine. And I'm aware that the vibe I can give off in my videos can be seen as overarchingly negative, even when I myself am personally indifferent to it. Like if you were to tell me about employee monitoring or something, and just like while we were walking around or while I was doing my everyday life, I'd be like, yeah, that's dumb. There's no way I'd ever work there. And then I would move on. I'm not actually that negative in person, and I'm working on that. It is a weak point. It's hard to make videos about things that you would normally need a full-fledged conversation to fully articulate all your thoughts. When you're tasked with making a living and keeping people entertained at the same time, it's very hard to talk about every side of everything. It's not impossible, but it's pretty difficult. And while I show a lot of things bad about companies, the reality is that every company has its issues, but it's up to you to decide if you want to tolerate those issues. Now, not all of them are garbage just because they have something wrong with them either. My goal is to show you what kinds of things are out there in the corporate world that don't really benefit you as the worker, even when companies say it does. For example, Netflix. I said the word garbage about the keeper's test policy, but I'm not calling Netflix as a whole garbage. But it sure does have some convoluted policies that need clarified. Like, for example, the unlimited vacation thing. Please explain exactly what that means. How much vacation can someone take before getting fired? What's the average that people take? So much psychological manipulation in just a vacation policy that it needs to be clarified. You know, people don't know how much they can take without getting fired, so you have to look at what someone else in your department got away with and kind of decide if you could get away with that, and it just turns into this big game. That's a convoluted policy that needs clarified. But again, Netflix, holistically, I don't think is a bad company. Like if I was a software engineer and I wanted to get a job and they gave me an offer, I'd probably go work there, right? I'm sure there are people that work at Netflix that don't even know that the keeper's test exists. They just do their job, ignore their company BS, and continue on with their life. Probably like most of you guys who watch this channel. Maybe some of you work at companies that are like, yeah, it was that bad, but I'm sure some of you work at companies that have something stupid and you're like, yeah, that's really, really dumb, and I'd like to say something about it, but I can't. But at least Josh does. But the job itself, you know, I like my coworkers, I get paid okay. It's fine. I just mostly ignore it and just do my job and go home. But it would be cool if that policy didn't exist. I'm sure that's how most of you guys operate. That's how most of the world operates. You just, yeah, every company has its own thing, but I just ignore it, make my money. But the reason that I show these things is because I hope it prompts the audience and the viewers of this channel to go look at their own company policies, to go look at their own company handbook, the fine print, in case you ever need it. The point is to show you what exists, and it's up to you, basically, what you're willing to tolerate. Like, for example, there's a couple things wrong with Netflix, things that I think need to be taken a look at, and everyone was saying, but Josh, do you know how much they get paid there? Yes, I do. Netflix pays absolutely fantastic. They pay top of the market. They don't find a range and then try to find somewhere in that range. They just say, how much do people get paid that do this job, and what's the top end of that? Okay, that's what we're going to pay everyone that works at Netflix. You get stock that you don't have to vest. You can negotiate your salary up or down based on how much stock you want from Netflix. Like, I think that's pretty cool. While Netflix might pay tons and tons of money, for some people, knowing that they have to make their boss want to fight for them every day in order to keep their job might just be one of those things that they're like, nah, you know what? Absolutely not. This is a dumb policy. I'm not doing that. But hey, if you're good working at Netflix and you don't even know about this policy, your manager doesn't even care, you never talk about it, you never hear about it, and you're just enjoying making that paper that Netflix is giving you, then hey, more power to you. That is fantastic. For me, my limits are team building, unpaid overtime, contradictory statements, and using power to manipulate people. Like we're a family, employee monitoring, and many other things. And I realize that some of you guys don't care about them as much as me, and that's cool, no problem. And I have my own biases, of course, and I won't deny that they seep through into my videos. I am naturally skeptical, highly skeptical of people in power over other people because of my upbringing and experience with my corporate jobs. That's me though. I am skeptical, or cynical, as you guys call me. And I can't say that I don't have a reason for it, right? Most of the people in my life who had any control or input toward it have lied to my face. Family, friends, employers, cult-like church that I was raised in. Like, for example, when Dan Price paid $70,000 minimum wage to all of his employees at his company, everyone in the comments was like, but Josh, who cares? It's a win-win. They're all making more money. Who cares what he did or what his motivations were behind it? But there's me, skeptical Josh here. Listen, I think it's great that everyone at that company is winning, everyone is making more money, but this is how my mind works. My mind goes to a place of wondering, is someone that brands himself with an obvious likeness to Jesus, is that person being genuine or not? Does that matter to everyone? No. Retrospectively in that video, it did seem like I was upset that they were all making more money and that everyone was doing better, or that I was upset that he hasn't responded to my messages and wouldn't come on this channel. Like, I have to admit, that's the vibe that it gave off. But honestly, I think it's fantastic that they're all making more money. I'm just wondering the genuineness behind it. But does that matter at the end of the day if all the employees are making more money? No, not really. I get that, and that was my intent on trying to get that across in the video, and I don't think I did a very good job. What gets me the most about working corporate jobs is how the power dynamics work, and that's what I try to highlight on this channel. When you are given responsibility for subjective stuff without any control over the final decision, like for example the keeper's test at Netflix, you are given the responsibility to make your manager want to fight for you. However, at the end of the day, you don't control that decision. You could be the best employee in the world, but they might just not like you and say, I wouldn't fight for you, and so that's how they know you're not worth keeping around as an employee. And this might surprise you, but I actually have no problem if companies were to say, this is how we do things, we are for profit, we are cutthroat, we will fire you if you don't perform. Taking your boss to lunch will probably get you a raise. That's all I want, is for companies to say exactly that. Not to dilute the reality of business, which is math. To make more than you spend at all costs, pretty much. But we're all human, right? So it's only natural that people turn something they do every day, all day, into a part of their life. And I guess I can understand that as well. My problem comes in when companies realize you've bought in and then use it against you. I've read the comment many times that said, Josh, I think if you were to open your own company and show us how it's done, then you would understand why companies make you do these corporate cringe things. I do have my own company, and I do have an employee, and I still don't understand. And I don't normally come on here and talk about how I and my intern work, but I'll give you an idea of how I am as a boss. Like, I'm not perfect, but I don't think I'm bad. I try to uphold all of the things that I say in my video. Like, for example, my employee, the intern, right? He's not actually an employee. He's a contractor, just like I say that you guys should be, so that you guys have access to business expense and controlling your own taxes and stuff too. Now, because he's a contractor, I pay him every month for the entire month, and it's up to him to budget that money, business expense that money. I showed him how business expenses work. I showed him how to set up a business bank account, because I want him to be able to take whatever skills he learns from me and to never have to depend on me again. For example, there's a lot of jobs that want the opposite of that. They want you to have to depend on them. They don't want you to have options. They don't want you to have leverage. So I try to do the opposite of this and teach him everything he would need to know if he wanted to go his own way. Big question is, are you remote? Because you're so pro-remote in your videos, Josh. And the answer is sometimes, because he has to hold the camera and I have to be in front of the camera, and that, takes two people. But I usually ride my motorcycle to his house. I drop off some footage. Then he edits it. I look at it. We post it. But like I say in my videos, I don't care what he does while he edits, as long as he gets the video up by whenever we agree. But he can do whatever he wants during the day. He can watch TV, he can go work out, he can literally wait till the last minute to do it, as long as it's good and it gets posted by the time we agree. Just like in my videos, that's what I say. It doesn't matter what you do as long as the work is getting done. And that's how I operate. Do we have a fixed schedule? No, not really. I just text him when I need him, and he does whatever he wants in the meantime. Sometimes we don't even see each other for a week, and I make the videos myself, and I still pay him. I don't actually make him work certain hours. I don't almost make him do anything. I just ask him what he wants to learn or make, and then we usually try to do something around that. Another question you might have would be like, how do you decide to pay him, Josh? Well, I asked him what he needed to live a comfortable life, and then we looked at his expenses for what he needs to live, and then I showed him what I make. I showed him all the ways that I make money. We sat down. I said, this is what I get every month. This is where I get it every month. And these are your expenses. How do you want to do this? And so we went back and forth. Like, is this enough? Do you need more? No, I don't think that's enough because you're going to need taxes on that. And like, we were just going back and forth, just talking about what he would need to live a comfortable life. And then we came to the agreement of, if I make more money, then you make more money. And it's a win-win for everyone. Like, that kind of transparency, I don't think you'll find in almost anyone, but that's how I am. I'm like, this is everything I have in my bank account. This is everything I make. This is how I do it. And this is what I want to pay you. Is this okay? Is this enough? Do you need more? Is this not enough? If I make more, then you'll make more. I was pretty transparent, and it was pretty open and honest conversation. So that's how we came to that agreement. To be honest, I make less money now having hired him than I did before I hired him. And you know what? I don't actually mind it. I get to teach someone stuff that I'm passionate about. He gets a job that I would have killed for, that I think he really enjoys, and we generally have a good time together. Do we do any team building stuff? No, absolutely not. We don't do any team building stuff. Sometimes we play games together if he wants. How do I reward him? Because I'm always like, merit-based work. If they do more work, reward them for it, and, give them more vacation, something. And while I do that, I also, I guess, do other things. I don't know, this feels really weird to talk about on camera because I'm just not that type of person. But there was this one time, it was a Friday, and I was pretty over that day anyways, but he was over here and we were preparing to go out and film some videos. And he kept telling me about this game called Back 4 Blood. No, this video is not sponsored by them, but he was like, yo, dude, I used to play so much Left 4 Dead as a kid, and there's this new one coming out, and it's an open beta right now, and I'm watching Twitch, and it's so cool. And I just decided I'm going to order this man some pizza. I'm going to buy him the game so he can get access to the beta, and I just want him to go home and play that game all weekend. That's his job from now until Monday. And so I sat here on my phone, and I secretly ordered him a pizza to his house, and then I gifted him the game on Steam, and I was like, you know what, dude, this is your job today. We're not going to go film. Just go enjoy. Just go have a good weekend. I don't know if that counts as how do I reward him, but we do things like that. Or if we're out, I'll go pick up food for us, drinks, snacks, whatever he wants. I would like to think to myself that I am a good boss and that I am being fair and balanced. In fact, right now he's on a week-long trip to visit his childhood friend and go to their wedding. And he didn't even ask me. He just said that's what he was doing. He's like, hey, dude, I'm going to Texas to go to a wedding. And I was like, cool, sounds good. I don't mind. He can work there if he wants, and if he doesn't want to work, that's cool too. Otherwise, I'll hold down the fort, and I will still pay him just the same. Now, yes, I realize that the way I work doesn't work on a massive scale of large corporations with thousands and thousands of people. And that's by design. I would never, ever want to be a company that has thousands and thousands of people or be a CEO, because I hate managing people and I hate being managed. So the idea of running that sort of company just does not appeal to me. I also realize that not outsourcing my work drastically reduces the amount of potential money that I could make, and it takes up more of my time. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I realize that I'm probably overly lax, but that's just me. I enjoy helping people, and I don't expect to get rich because of it. Sure, it would be cool to be a millionaire, but I'm not. Not even close to a millionaire. I'm not perfect by any means, and I don't have all of the answers to all of the corporate nonsense, but what I can do is point awareness to things that I think are, for lack of a better word, dumb and manipulative. If I can't do anything about it myself personally, I can point at it and say, look, this exists, this is what they can do to you, this is what they're doing to other people. Perhaps consider it, note it down in your brain. Maybe you'll need it one day. Maybe you'll be like, oh, I've seen that before, or absolutely not. There's no way I'm doing that, or I've actually seen how this works and I know what they're doing. That's what I want for you guys to get. I have this feeling that people think I'm just constantly scouring the internet, just scrolling on my mouse until my finger deteriorates all day, just looking for the next outrageous thing corporate did to someone. But it's not like that. I'm not like that. Most of the time, I'm hanging out with HR Lady, talking to my friends, riding my motorcycles, playing with my dogs, or learning about film. I will admit though, like any content creator, I have to be somewhat extra when the camera is on. Not in a fake way, but you have to be somewhat polarizing to maintain attention. If you aren't polarizing in any way, you will disappear. You could be like, here's a 100% fact-based argument for everything, and people just don't want to hear it. And that's just how it works. You have to be polarizing. You have to split the audience down the middle in order to maintain attention. The us versus them mentality is what catches on, but it's not always like that. And it doesn't have to be like that, guys. So I just want you to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, right? So even if my goal is positive, I have to take something that isn't necessarily bad and highlight that thing. And I don't want people to take everything I say as law. Like, I make mistakes. And I'm open to being wrong if it makes sense and the reasoning is there. And I digress somewhat here. But these are some things that I've been thinking about. So basically, I need to do a better job of presenting the content to you guys. I think I need to be more fair, I suppose. Be more balanced. Maybe take the bad things and highlight them with the good things. And I've done that before. They don't do as good as you think, or I'll show the bad thing and then I'll compare it with a good thing, and nobody ever watches to get to the part where I show the good thing at the end. I've tried it in reverse, and then they're like, yeah, this is great and all, but like, that's not as clickbait. That's not as outrageous. That doesn't make me mad. So they don't watch it. And I can see all of these things in the analytics, whether you guys believe it or not. I've looked at all the videos where I've done all of those things, and they just don't do as well. I would love to keep doing them. That's how I would prefer to do things. But again, when you're tasked to make a living, you have to do what gets clicks, and I hate it. I hate clickbait so much. I have to do it because I know that's what will get clicked on, but also I hate doing that because I wish I could just say the things that people should actually think about. I don't know. You guys get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you just have to play the YouTube algorithm game somewhat, and it's annoying, and it can kind of take away. So the point is, I have to do a better job. I have to make more clear, more concise content. I have to present things in a more fair and balanced way. I can't promise you that my biases won't seep in, because I think, honestly, some of you think it's funny, and it's really hard for me just to not be skeptical of people in power over other people in any way, shape, or form. That's all I had to say. Thank you so much for listening to my rant. I don't have anything to shill. I'm really going to try to improve my future videos, and hopefully we can all get on the same page more consistently. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.